is Pearce. I'm an oboe player and teacher, and I'm going to go through the steps that I do when I process reeds, or process cane for making reeds. Now, I'm going to introduce the various pieces of equipment first, so that you're familiar with them. First is a radius gauge, and it's used to basically check the straightness of the pieces of cane that I'm going to be processing. The next step is with what they call a pre-gouger. And a pre-gouger, basically, it removes excess cane to save the blade on the gouging machine, which is this piece of equipment here. The gouging machine is a bit like a plane. The piece of cane is put in here after it's been cut to the right length, and then it's moved back and forward until the desired thickness is met. Now in this case it's a circular blade, so that it's made for a specific setting. In this case it means that I can gouge the sides of the cane at 0.45 millimeters and leaving the centre at 60, which is a fairly standard good gauge. The last step in the procedure is done with this, which is a shaping machine. Basically you pull this back, you put the piece of gouged cane into here, and you can see that there's a template. The template is the thing that will give you the shape, and the blades work against that. So the piece of cane is put in there, this is put on top, it's clamped down, and then you rotate this back and push it back and forward, and the piece of cane is then shaped to the desired shape. Right, now the average piece of cane is actually quite a bit longer than what you need, and it's going to be cut off using the guillotine, which is this thing that's attached to the gouger. It cuts it to a pre-approved length. Now, in order to maximise or get the best out of the piece of cane that you've got, you need to test it to see whether it's straight and whether there are any twists in the cane that are going to make it difficult to make a reed further down. Because if they are there, you need to discard that cane, because otherwise you're just blunting your blade and processing something that is not going to never work. So the first thing I do is I get the radius gauge, and I look, and I hold it up sort of towards light, and I look to see if there's any light appearing in the underside of the bed. Now this cane is mostly 10.5 to 11 millimeters long, in diameter. So this one is more towards 11. It's a pretty straight piece, so it doesn't really matter where I cut it. I'll try another piece. That one's pretty good too. Sometimes you get it though, you'll find one end is better than the other. And if you see light at one end, then you chop it at the other end. Now this starts at 10.5 and it's pretty much 10.5 all the way through. So that one I will also hold. I'll just do one more and see where that is. That's 10.5 fairly consistently. So the first four pieces of cane I've got are fairly straight ones. So the next step is I do the pre-gouging first. I pop it in here. You can see there's a channel. Put something under it. You need to make sure that it lies in the bed fairly flat, and then just slowly push the piece of cane through. As you can see, it's removing quite a lot. That stuff would have had to be removed by this machine if I hadn't done that. So this is excess and it will get thrown out. Do another piece. If you do it properly, you'll find that there's a rail or a piece of cane coming off both ends. And the ones that I like the best show a channel in the centre. If there's not a channel, like this one here hasn't got a channel at this end, it means that it's going to be quite difficult to gouge, and the gouging machine is going to have to work that a little bit harder. So my preference is where there's a nice channel running down. I usually find I get a more even gouge. Right, the next step is to cut the cane into the desired length. This is preset. 1. 2. This little device means that your lengths are going to be very precise, and they need to be to fit into this contraption here, which is your next step. Now, before I go any further, I might say that this cane is ruche cane. It's grown in the southeastern part of France in what they call the Var region. And the Var region is where the preferred traditional supply of oboe cane comes from. There are now many other countries that grow cane. In fact, in most places it's considered an invasive weed. But there are areas in Spain, Turkey, China, and also Australia and California is very popular, and I believe Argentina is really producing some very fine cane as well.